Most people think avoidant individuals don't want love. They believe such people are cold, detached, and incapable of forming deep connections. But the truth is very different. Avoidant people do want love. In fact, they crave it even more than most realize. The difference is, they don't bond with just anyone. They only form lifelong attachment with a very specific type of partner. If you don't understand what that type is, you may spend years chasing someone who always feels out of reach. Think about it. Maybe you've been with someone who pulls you close one day, then pushes you away the next. You try harder. You send more texts. You go out of your way to prove your loyalty. Yet the more effort you put in, the further they seem to drift away. This leaves you questioning yourself. You start to wonder, am I not enough? Am I doing something wrong? But here's the surprising truth. Your love is not the problem. Your effort is not the problem. The real issue is that avoidant people are wired to resist certain types of energy and to bond for life only with another type. Once you understand this blueprint, everything changes. You stop wasting your energy on endless chasing, overthinking, and heartbreak. Instead, you step into the exact role that unlocks their trust and builds a connection so stable that even the most avoidant person, the one who always feels impossible to hold on to, finally relaxes into lifelong bonding. In this video, I will explain who that partner actually is, why avoidant people bond with them, and the practical steps you can take to become that energy. Because once you see this clearly, you will never beg for love again. You will finally understand what makes avoidant people choose once and for life. Think about that feeling when everything starts off amazing. At first they are warm, attentive, even a little vulnerable. They laugh with you, share their stories, and maybe even say things that make you think, wow, this is real, this could last. But then, almost without warning, the shift begins. Messages slow down. Calls become shorter. Plans suddenly turn into, let's see. One day they are close, leaning in, and the next day they disappear behind a wall you cannot break through. What do you do then? You go into overdrive. You question yourself. Did I say too much? Did I push too hard? Should I step back or should I try harder? You type out a long message, then delete it. You wait for hours staring at your phone, refreshing the chat, watching for those 3 little dots to appear. You wonder if you scared them away, or if maybe you are simply not enough. It is exhausting, isn't it? Like a roller coaster, where you never know if the next turn will bring a rush of closeness or another drop into silence. One moment they hold your hand like you are the only person in the world, and the next they are gone, emotionally or even physically. You are left replaying every word, every emoji, every pause, and here is the part that truly hurts. Deep down you know you are giving everything, your heart, your time, your energy, yet the more you reach for closeness, the more they seem to slip away. It feels personal. It feels like rejection, like you are chasing something that runs further and further each time you try to catch it. Still you hold on, because when it is good, it feels so good. But when it turns cold, you feel invisible. That constant hot and cold cycle makes you doubt yourself, question your worth, and wonder if the only way to keep them is by losing a little piece of yourself. But here's the truth. This pattern is not random, and it is not because you are unworthy. It happens because avoidant people don't bond under pressure. They bond under peace. Unless you understand who they actually connect with for life, you will remain trapped in this painful cycle of push and pull. Let's make it simple. It is not that your love isn't enough. It is not that you are too emotional, too intense, or too needy. The truth is clearer and harder to accept. An avoidant nervous system does not bond with pressure. It only bonds with peace. Think about that. If you have been pouring out your heart, explaining more, proving your love, waiting for their messages, and chasing closeness, then you have actually been speaking the wrong language. What feels like love to you registers as pressure to them. And pressure doesn't draw them closer. It pushes them away. I need you to hear this deeply. It is not rejection of you. It is rejection of the feeling of being cornered. For someone wired as avoidant, your anxious energy, the long texts, the pleading, the constant reassurance seeking doesn't feel like safety. It feels like demand. Their system is not built to carry that, and so they retreat. Picture it this way. You are trying to hug them tighter because you want to feel secure. But to them it feels like being trapped in a shrinking room. To you, closeness means love. To them, closeness means danger. Not because they don't care about you, but because their wiring tells them distance equals safety. Here lies the paradox. The harder you try to prove your worth, the less safe they feel. The more energy you pour in, the quicker they slip away. That's why chasing never works. It doesn't matter how much love you bring. If it comes across as pressure, it fails. So let's break this old belief right here. The answer is not being more patient, more forgiving, or more self-sacrificing. That approach will only drain you and scare them further. The path to a lifelong bond is not built on intensity, it is built on calm. It is not about proving yourself. It is about standing steady. Avoidant people don't fall for pressure, they fall for peace. And until you shift from chasing connection to creating safety, you will remain stuck in the same painful cycle of hope and heartbreak. Here is the hard truth you need to lock in. You don't win an avoidant heart by running faster. You win it by standing still, with clarity, calm, and self-respect. This is where most people fail with avoidant partners, not because they don't love enough, but because they love in a way that an avoidant nervous system cannot receive. Think about it. You sense distance, so you chase harder. You feel them pull back, so you add more reassurance, more effort, more proof of loyalty. You bend, you shrink, you overgive, hoping if you just hold tighter, they won't slip away. But here's the paradox again. Avoidant people don't bond under pressure, and the more you try to grip the relationship, the faster it falls apart. It's like holding sand in your hand. The tighter you squeeze, the quicker it slips through your fingers. This is why most relationships with avoidant partners crash, because when they pull away, the anxious partner interprets it as danger. And what does an anxious heart do in danger? It pushes for closeness. It sends long messages, checks the phone on repeat, and replays every conversation like a detective searching for clues. But to the avoidant, all of this feels suffocating. They don't experience your effort as love. They feel it as pressure. They don't hear your pleas as comfort. They hear them as chaos. And when their system senses chaos, it doesn't move closer. It shuts down. That's how you get stuck in the exhausting loop. You chase, they retreat. You explain, they go silent. You prove your worth, they disappear. It feels personal, like rejection, like you are not enough. But here's the reframe. It is not about your worth. It is about your approach. You bring more intensity when what they need is steadiness. You bring pressure when what they can only trust is peace. That is why most people fail with avoidant partners. They confuse chasing with caring. They confuse pressure with connection. They believe that pouring more love will build a bond. But in reality, it only drives the avoidant further away. Here is the mantra to keep in mind. You don't create lifelong bonding with pressure. You create it with peace, patience, and presence. Now let's flip the perspective. Instead of only focusing on your pain, step into their world. Because once you understand how avoidant people actually experience bonding, the whole picture shifts. Avoidant people bond more like cats, not dogs. Think about it. Dogs run toward affection. Call their name, open your arms, and they jump straight into your lap. Cats are completely different. If you chase a cat, it runs. But if you sit still, calm, unthreatening, eventually the cat comes closer, curls into your space, and stays there on its own terms. That's exactly how avoidant bonding works. This is how avoidant people operate. When you chase, they run, not because they don't care, but because your energy feels like a net trying to trap them. Their nervous system reads intensity as danger. But when you stay grounded, calm, and consistent, they feel safe enough to come closer by choice, not force. To an avoidant, closeness can feel like stepping into a small, airless room. Even if your love is pure, their body reacts with "I can't breathe." So when you send long paragraphs, cry harder, or push for clarity, it feels to them like you are slamming the door tighter. Their instinct is to escape. Here's the part most people miss. Avoidant people do want love. They do want connection. But often in childhood they learned that vulnerability wasn't safe. Maybe when they opened up, they were criticized. Maybe when they needed comfort, no one came. Maybe independence was rewarded, while emotional needs were ignored. So their system equated closeness with risk. Fast forward to adulthood, and that wiring still runs deep. They are not rejecting you. They are protecting themselves. And the only environment that allows them to lower their guard is one that feels steady, predictable, and free of pressure. When you stop chasing and radiate calm instead of chaos, you stop being the storm they run from, and you become the safe ground they can finally land on. Here's the mantra. Avoidant people don't bond through force. They bond through freedom. So who does an avoidant actually trust enough to bond with for life? It's not the partner who chases. It's not the one who sends endless reassurances or proves love every single day. Avoidant people build lifelong bonds with the partner who radiates calm, respects space, and stands steady no matter the waves. Think of it like this. Avoidants don't need fireworks. They need a steady flame, a fire that doesn't burn too hot, doesn't demand attention every second, but quietly and consistently warms the room. That's the kind of energy their nervous system can finally relax into. So what does this secure energy look like in real life? It looks like consistency without clinginess. You show up when you say you will, but you don't suffocate them if they need space. It looks like boundaries without drama. You know what you need, you express it calmly, and you don't beg or explode when it isn't met. It looks like patience without pressure. You let the connection unfold naturally, instead of forcing closeness on your own timeline. Here's the mantra to lock in. Steadiness builds trust. Space builds safety. And to an avoidant, safety is everything. Safety doesn't come from intensity. It comes from knowing, I can breathe here. I won't be controlled. I won't be cornered. This is why avoidants don't fall for the loudest love. They fall for the quietest strength. The partner who can say, I care about you, but I don't need to lose myself to prove it. The partner who doesn't chase, doesn't punish, doesn't collapse, but holds steady ground. And here's the best part. When you show up with that kind of calm, secure energy, the avoidant doesn't just stop running. They start leaning in, not because you pulled them, but because your steadiness made them feel safe enough to stay. So if you've been wondering what it really takes for an avoidant to bond for life, this is it. Not pressure, not proving, not chasing, but calm. Boundaries, patience, and presence. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Avoidants are not rejecting love. Their nervous system is simply wired to seek safety and autonomy. Closeness doesn't automatically feel safe. It only feels safe when it doesn't threaten their freedom. Think of it like this. Avoidants are like plants. Too much water and they drown. Too little attention and they wither. But steady sunlight, consistent warmth and space to breathe, this is what lets them grow naturally. You can't force growth by pouring more water. You create the right environment and then watch it flourish. That's exactly how you build a bond with an avoidant. Not by chasing, proving, or over-explaining, but by creating the right environment. So what does that environment look like, step by step? Step 1, respond short and calm. No long essays, no frantic messages. Keep communication simple and steady. Example, I'd love to connect later. I'll give you space until then. That's it, clear, calm, safe. Step 2, keep your own life active. Work, friends, hobbies, routines. The more grounded and full your life is, the less you rely on them to regulate your emotions. Avoidants sense that independence, and it signals safety instead of pressure. Step 3, give space but check in with clarity. Respect their need to breathe but don't disappear or play games. Example, I'll give you space. Let me know when you're ready to talk. Clear, direct, non-demanding. Step 4, ask for what you need, then step back. Boundaries matter. Express what you want calmly, then allow them to respond on their own timeline. Don't plead or manipulate. They will mirror your steadiness if it feels safe. Here's the mantra. Respect creates safety. Safety creates bond. When you start applying these steps, something shifts. You stop feeding the push and pull cycle. You stop giving your power away. And slowly the avoidant begins leaning in. Not because they were pressured, but because your presence feels like calm sunlight on a plant finally ready to bloom. So, what if you do everything right? Calm, steady, clear boundaries, and they still pull away? Here's the reframe you need to remember. This is not rejection. This is clarity. Clarity about their capacity, their readiness, and what they are able to give in this season of life. You don't need to audition for their bond. You don't need to beg, over-explain, or bend yourself into someone else's shape. Expectations are natural, but real connection comes when you show up as your calm and steady self. That energy is what truly attracts people. Not your panic, not your chasing, not desperate attempts to prove your worth. The truth is, calmness is power. People who avoid commitment will only bond deeply with a partner who chooses peace over chaos, space over control, and self-worth over chasing. So be that energy. Be the calm, steady presence in the storm. Protect your boundaries with grace. Live fully in your own life, and you will never feel the need to beg for love again. Remember, your peace is stronger than any text, any explanation, or any strategy to make someone stay. When you learn to regulate yourself first, you stop giving others the power to control your emotions. That kind of energy is magnetic. It naturally pulls people closer. Now here is what I want you to do right after watching this video. Step 1. Comment the phrase "calm builds bond" below. Not because it sounds nice, but because it's your commitment to choose steadiness over chasing. Step 2. Save this video for the times you feel the urge to overreach, overtext, or overthink. Let it be your anchor. Peace creates true connection. Step 3. Hit subscribe because in the next video I will show you how to recognize real consistency in someone within just 14 days. So you never waste your heart on mixed signals again. Here is the final mantra to hold on to. Don't chase. Choose peace. Choose your standards. Choose your worth. When you live this way, the right people will move closer. They will respect you. They will meet you at your level. And if someone doesn't, it is their loss, not your failure. That is real power. That is real love. And it all starts with you.